Some survival stories are unbelievable. And then there's this one. Imagine being trapped in the heart of the Andes Mountains, a place where the air feels like needles, where the temperature freezes your breath before it leaves your lips, and where every direction you look is just endless, merciless white. Now imagine being stranded not for hours, not for days, but for weeks with no rescue, no warmth, and no food. You're surrounded by your closest friends, people you've laughed with, traveled with, dreamed with, and suddenly, all of you must face the kind of decisions no human should ever have to make. Decisions that blur the line between survival and morality. Decisions that the world will judge, but only the dying can understand. This is not just a movie. This is a battle between hope and horror, faith and fear, life and the coldest death imaginable. This is the true story of the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. Story that forces us to rethink what being human truly means. Welcome to Society of the Snow. Welcome back to Real Movie Breakdown, the channel where we dive deep into the most intense, shocking, and emotional movie experiences. If you love realistic survival films, true stories, and powerful human drama, then you're in the right place. Today, we're breaking down one of the most haunting and inspiring films of the decade, Society of the Snow 2023. This isn't just a movie. It's a testimony of courage, loyalty, heartbreak, and impossible choices. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's begin our journey into the Andes. The story begins with a young Uruguayan rugby team, the Old Christians Club, buzzing with excitement. They're preparing to fly to Chile for a friendly match. For many of them, this is more than a game. It's a chance to explore the world, to travel with friends, and to create memories they'll cherish for a lifetime. We're introduced to key players like Numa Turcotti, thoughtful, calm, the voice that guides us through the story. Nando Parado, athletic, determined, full of fire. Roberto Canessa, practical, smart, and natural problem solver. Marcelo Perez, the team captain, respected and steady. Fernando Fito Strauch, creative, resourceful. Everyone is smiling, joking, and full of life. They board the military plane together, unaware that this journey will become the darkest chapter of their lives. The plane lifts off into the sky. Spirits are high. The boys laugh, tease, eat snacks, and share dreams about the future. But clouds gather in the distance, a quiet signal that fate is about to shift. As the aircraft approaches the Andes Mountains, turbulence shakes the cabin. At first, the team thinks it's nothing unusual, just rough wind. The pilots, however, know the danger. The Andes are infamous for unpredictable storms and razor-sharp ridges hidden behind thick clouds. A sudden drop, screams. The overhead bins burst open. The entire plane rattles like it's being ripped apart. The players try to stay calm, but fear spreads fast. Then, a violent shake, louder than thunder. The plane hits an air pocket and plummets. In seconds, chaos breaks loose. Bodies slam against seats. Luggage flies through the cabin. Metal bends and screeches. The players grab each other's hands, whispering prayers. And then, the plane hits the mountain. What follows is brutal and terrifying. The tail of the plane snaps completely off. Several passengers are sucked out instantly. The fuselage slides violently down a steep snow slope, bouncing and tearing open. Inside, people scream as seats rip loose, slamming into each other like dominoes. The impact is relentless, snow blasting through the opening, freezing the air, numbing skin instantly. When the fuselage finally stops sliding, the survivors sit in shocked silence, a silence filled with a heavy presence of death. Bodies lie motionless. Those still alive struggle to understand what just happened. Their world has changed forever. The surviving players immediately check on each other. Many have severe injuries, broken legs, deep cuts, internal bleeding. Others are unconscious. The temperature is brutally low, far below freezing, and the wind howls like a predator circling its prey. Inside the broken fuselage, panic and disbelief take over. Some scream for help. Some cry quietly. Some stare blankly, unable to process the nightmare. Marcello, the captain, tries to restore order. He encourages everyone to breathe, to stay calm, to keep hope alive. Leadership becomes a lifeline. Outside, the landscape is terrifying. Endless whiteness. No trees. No animals. No sign of human life, just a vast, icy desert stretching miles in every direction. The Andes feel alive, but in a cold, merciless, uncaring way. Cold becomes their enemy. Not just cold, but a cold so deep it feels like it can kill you from the inside. With almost no supplies, the survivors gather whatever they can. Thin airplane seat cushions, a few rugs, light clothing, broken metal scraps that might help. They huddle inside the fuselage, squeezing together to share body heat. But the temperature keeps dropping. Several injured passengers fight to stay conscious. The first night is an endless torture of shivering, pain, and fear. Many whisper the same question: will anyone find us? By morning, they take stock of their situation. Food supplies? Almost none. A few chocolate bars, a small tin of jam, and a couple of bottles of wine. For more than a dozen people, this isn't even enough for a day. But nobody is ready to face the truth yet. The boys break the chocolate into tiny pieces. Each person gets a fragment no bigger than a fingernail. They suck on it slowly, pretending it's enough. Water is also scarce, but snow is everywhere. They place metal sheets in the sun to melt it. Then they notice something horrifying. Their bodies are already losing energy at an alarming rate. The altitude is high. The air is thin. Their bodies are burning calories just to stay alive. They're starving. And it's only day one. Some survivors climb a nearby ridge to scan for signs of civilization. They see nothing. Just endless mountains, higher and more dangerous than they imagined. Still, they convince themselves that rescue will come. After all, they were on a military flight. Authorities must be searching for them. They gather inside and comfort each other. Just one more night, maybe tomorrow. They'll find us. They have to. But deep down, doubt quietly grows. Days pass. The cold worsens. The injuries worsen. The food runs out. Some boys tear apart the plane seats, looking for foam they can eat, but it's useless. Their bodies are shutting down. Then, one day, they hear static on the small radio they recovered. Everyone freezes. A voice breaks through, a Chilean broadcaster. They listen breathlessly. And then comes the message that destroys all hope. The official rescue operation has been called off. The search for the missing plane is over. The survivors fall into silence. Some break into tears. Some collapse emotionally. The world has given up on them. They are alone. Completely alone. Starvation becomes deadly. Their cheeks sink. Their ribs show. Their lips crack and bleed. Their bodies weaken to the point where even sitting up feels impossible. After days with no food, the reality becomes undeniable. They will die, unless they find a source of energy. And the only source available is the bodies of their friends, preserved by the cold. This is the moment that defines the entire story. It's not a decision made out of cruelty or madness. It's a decision made out of pure survival. Out of respect for life, not disrespect for death. They gather in a circle. Some cry. Some pray. Some refuse at first, but eventually understand the truth. Numa, our narrator, expresses the moral agony they face. What does it mean to stay alive? And what does it mean to honor the dead? One by one, the survivors accept the unimaginable. To live, they must rely on those who can no longer live. This becomes the foundation of their new society, a society built on loyalty, honesty, and the desperate will to survive. The Society of the Snow. Now that they have a way to regain strength, the survivors begin to organize. Teams go out each day to search for supplies. Others melt snow for drinking water. Some create makeshift blankets, clothes, and windshields from plane parts. They build routines to keep hope alive. Their friendship becomes their greatest weapon. They share stories, memories, jokes, anything to brighten the unbearable nights. Yet, the mountains remain unforgiving. Storms hit suddenly. Winds roar like monsters. The freezing cold tries to suffocate them. Every day is a war. Despite the despair, some survivors refuse to give up, especially Nando Parado and Roberto Canessa. Nando has lost his mother and sister in the crash, but instead of drowning in grief, he uses the pain as fuel. He believes rescue is possible, but only if they go find it. He begins to study the mountain range, memorizing peaks and patterns. He trains his weakened body by taking small walks outside. He pushes himself past exhaustion. Roberto joins him. Together, they decide they must cross the mountains to search for civilization. But the Andes are not gentle. They're jagged, towering, deadly, and completely unfamiliar. After weeks in the frozen Andes, the survivors finally face a truth they can't ignore. No rescue is coming. The thin air burns their lungs. Their bodies feel weak, almost hollow. Their faces have grown sharp, pale, and tired. But their minds are still fighting. Inside the fuselage, Nando and Roberto gather the group. They share their plan, a plan so dangerous that everyone falls silent. They want to climb the massive peak towering over their shelter. From the ground, it looks like a wall of white stretching into the sky. If they can reach the top, they might find a valley, a village, or even a road. If they fail, they die. But in the Andes, doing nothing is also death. The group gives them support. They help stitch together warmer clothing using seat covers, insulation foam, and bits of fabric. They craft crude boots from cushion material. They wrap their feet in plastic to reduce melting snow. It's not perfect. It's not even good. But it's all they have. The night before the climb, silence fills the fuselage. Everyone watches the sky. Stars glitter like cold needles. The mountains stand tall, indifferent to the suffering below. Nando whispers, "Tomorrow, we walk for everyone." Morning breaks with a pale blue light. Nando, Roberto, and another survivor, Tintin, step outside. Their breath forms clouds in front of them. The snow crunches under their makeshift boots. The slope looks far steeper up close. At first, they move slowly, each step a battle against gravity and exhaustion. Their muscles tremble. Their fingers burn from cold. Their lungs feel like they're inhaling knives. But they push forward. Behind them, the rest of the group watches silently from the fuselage. Their friends look like small dark dots against the endless white. Every step the climbers take is a message. We will not die here. Hours pass. The slope becomes steeper. The snow gets deeper. Their legs sink ankle deep, then knee deep. Tintin begins to collapse. His breathing becomes frantic. His energy drains faster than expected. The altitude is taking its toll. They try to help him up, but his strength is gone. After a painful discussion, Tintin decides to turn back. If he continues, he won't survive the night. Nando and Roberto watch him descend, shrinking into the distance. Now it's just the two of them. They continue upward, step by brutal step. The wind slashes their faces. The uphill angle feels nearly vertical at times. And then, the worst moment. They reach the ridge and discover another wall of mountains behind it. Not a valley, not a village, not a green slope, just endless, jagged, white peaks stretching to the horizon. Roberto collapses to his knees. Tears freeze instantly on his cheeks. Nando stares ahead, heartbroken, but not defeated. He says one line that becomes the moment of transformation. "We didn't climb to see what was in front of us. We climbed to see what was possible." And with that, they continue. For 3 days, the two young men walk across ridges, plateaus, and steep drops. They sleep in a tiny snow cave they carve with their hands. They melt snow for water. They ration tiny pieces of frozen protein to stay alive. Their bodies ache with every step. But then, something changes. On the 4th day, they reach a ledge. The wind is calmer here. The snow thins. The sun glows brighter. And from this point, they finally see it. A wide valley. Green patches, dark areas that look like rocks or hills. Far in the distance, land untouched by winter. Roberto gasps. "We're out. We made it out of the Andes." It's the first sign of life they've seen in nearly 70 days. The impossible suddenly feels possible. They descend into the valley, a place far less snowy and slightly warmer. But the journey is still cruel. Their feet bleed. Their hands crack open. Their lips split from cold and dehydration. They're running on pure survival instinct. Days pass. They find a small river, a sound so beautiful they almost cry. They drink until their stomachs hurt. They wash their faces for the first time since the crash. But the valley is empty. No houses, no roads, nothing. Still, the landscape gives them strength. A place with water and green means a place where humans might live. On the 9th day of walking, they follow a stream. Their bodies feel too heavy to move, but their hope pushes them forward. And then, in the distance, something moves. Not wind, not snow. Something alive. A horse. And behind it, a man. A real human being. A rancher. Nando and Roberto scream with whatever strength they have left. The rancher looks stunned to ghost-like figures emerging from the mountains. He rushes toward the river, but it's too wide to cross. He gestures for them to wait. He rides away, disappearing behind the hills. For a moment, the boys fear he won't return. But he does, with 2 other men, carrying rope, carrying supplies. One of them throws a piece of paper across the river tied to a stone. Roberto writes, "We are survivors of the plane that crashed in the Andes. Please help us." The rancher reads the note, his face changing from confusion to shock to urgency. He shouts, "We will return tomorrow with help." Nando and Roberto collapse into each other's arms and cry, a cry made of pain, hope, and overwhelming relief. After 10 days of walking through death, they've reached life again. Helicopters roar into the valley the next morning. The rescuers load Nando and Roberto inside, but the 2 refuse to leave immediately. "We go back," Nando insists. "We go show you where our family is." He leads them through the valley, pointing upward to the unforgiving mountains where the fuselage remains. The rescuers listen in disbelief. Helicopters fly toward the crash site. Inside the fuselage, the remaining survivors hear a low rumble. At first, they think it's another avalanche. Then someone shouts, "It's a helicopter." Silence falls. Everyone freezes. Their eyes fill with tears. They rush outside, staring at the sky. 2 helicopters appear, slicing through the cold air, landing near the wreckage. The world has finally returned for them. Some survivors can't stand. They're too weak. Rescuers carry them one by one. Others limp forward, crying, hugging each other. It's a sight that feels almost unreal, like a dream finally waking up. Because of the altitude, the helicopters cannot carry everyone at once. A few must stay behind for one last night. But after everything they've endured, one more night feels like nothing. By the following day, all survivors are safely aboard. As the helicopter rises off the mountain, the fuselage becomes smaller and smaller, the place that held their fear, their pain, their courage, their hope. Some of them whisper goodbye. Some pray. Some stare out silently, overwhelmed. They survived the Andes. They survived the cold. They survived choices no one can judge. They survived together. When the survivors arrive back in civilization, crowds gather around them. Reporters shout questions. Cameras flash. Families scream their names. But behind the tears and hugs, the boys feel something heavier, the weight of what they experienced. The world will never fully understand the sacrifices they made, yet they hold their heads high. Because they know the truth. They kept each other alive. They honored their friends. They never gave up. They became the Society of the Snow, a family created not by blood, but by survival. The movie ends with Numa's voice, a calm, reflective, filled with love for the friends he lost. He says that the true miracle wasn't just survival. It was the unity, loyalty, and humanity they held onto in the most inhuman conditions. Even in death, their friends remained part of them. Even in darkness, light never fully disappeared. Even in silence, hope kept speaking. It's a story not about tragedy, but about the incredible power of the human spirit. Thanks for watching Real Movie Breakdown. If this story moved you, inspired you, or opened your eyes to the strength of human courage, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful movie explanations. Your support helps the channel grow, and together, we'll keep exploring the stories that show what humanity is truly capable of. See you in the next breakdown.